on that note of corporate money in politics, Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg were sparring quite hard, okay? And they brought up dirt on each other, and it was quite satisfying to watch. So let's take a look.
Mayor Buttigieg, you had your hand raised.
Can't help but feel that might have been directed at me. And here's the thing. We're in the fight of our lives right now. Donald Trump and his allies have made it abundantly clear that they will stop at nothing, not even foreign interference, to hold on to power. They've already put together more than $300 million. This is our chance. This is our only chance to defeat Donald Trump. And we shouldn't try to do it with one hand tied behind our back. The way we're going to win is to bring everybody to our side in this fight. If that means that you're a grad student digging deep to go online to PeteForAmerica.com and chip in $10, that's great. And if you can drop $1,000 without blinking, that's great too. We need everybody's help in this fight. I'm not going to turn away anyone who wants to help us defeat Donald Trump. We need Democrats who've been with us all along, yes, but we also need independents worried about the direction of the country. If you were a Republican, disgusted with what's going on in your own party, we're not going to agree on everything, but we need you in this fight, and I will welcome you to our side.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Senator Warren, 45 seconds to respond.
So the mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals and served $900 a bottle wine. Think about who comes to that. He had promised that every fundraiser he would do would be open door, but this one was closed door. We made the decision many years ago that rich people in smoke-filled rooms would not pick the next president of the United States. Billionaires in wine caves should not pick the next president of the United States.
Mr. Mayor, your response.
You know, according to Forbes magazine, I am literally the only person on this stage who's not a millionaire or a billionaire. So if this is important, this is the problem with issuing purity tests you cannot yourself pass. If I pledge never to be in the company of a progressive Democratic donor, I couldn't be up here. Senator, your net worth is 100 times mine. Now, supposing that you went home feeling the holiday spirit, I know this isn't likely, but stay with me, and decided to go on to PeteForAmerica.com and give the maximum allowable by law, $2,800. Would that pollute my campaign because it came from a wealthy person? No, I would be glad to have that support. We need the support from everybody who is committed to helping us defeat Donald Trump.
We would like to bring in everyone, but obviously, Senator Warren, I'd like to give you a chance to respond.
I do not sell access to my time. I don't do call time with millionaires and billionaires.
Sorry, as of when, Senator?
I don't meet behind closed doors with big dollar donors. And look, I've taken one that ought to be an easy step for everyone here. I've said to anyone who wants to donate to me, if you want to donate to me, that's fine. But don't come around later expecting to be named ambassador, because that's what goes on in these high-dollar fundraisers. I said no, and I asked everybody on this stage to join me. This ought to be an easy step, and here's the problem. If you can't stand up and take the steps that are relatively easy, can't stand up to the wealthy and well-connected when it's relatively easy when you're a candidate, then how can the American people believe you're going to stand up to the wealthy and well-connected when you're president and it's really hard?
Judy.
Senator, I've got to respond.
Mr. Mayor, we're going to give you one more chance to respond.
If you can't say no to a donor, then you have no business running for office in the first place. But also, Senator, your presidential campaign right now, as we speak, is funded in part by money you transferred, having raised it at those exact same big-ticket fundraisers you now denounce. Did it corrupt you, Senator? Of course not. So to denounce the same kind of fundraising guidelines that President Obama went by, that Speaker Pelosi goes by, that you yourself went by until not long ago in order to build the Democratic Party and build a campaign ready for the fight of our lives. These purity tests shrink the stakes of the most important election.
Judy.
We'd like to bring everyone in.
Man, the way she went after him for that wine cave, I loved it. I loved it. A wine cave with crystals. Sliced them and diced them, man. He got put in his place, that little scheming weasel. It's good she went after him. People need to know that he is a little petit bourgeois, pretending to pass as a progressive while also kissing corporate ass and pleasing the 1%. People need to know that. And it's actually quite funny that he brings up their net worths and their values. This is the same argument people bring up to say that Bernie Sanders is a quote unquote hypocrite because he's also rich and he allegedly hates rich people. No, he doesn't hate rich people. He hates rich people who hide their money in offshore accounts and don't pay their taxes and exploit workers. And in this case, I'm sorry, but their net worth has absolutely nothing to do with this. Yes, Bernie Sanders is a millionaire, but he is a millionaire because he wrote a New York Times bestseller, not because he was exploiting workers, and not because he takes money from corporations like Nancy Pelosi. So yes, Bernie Sanders is more rich than you, but he doesn't take corporate money. He doesn't take donations from billionaires. So yes, his candidacy is purer than yours. It is cleaner and leagues ahead. Okay? So what a bogus, absolutely ridiculous talking point. We care about, have you taken corporate money in the past? Are you taking corporate money right now? Who are your donors? Who are you selling yourself to? Who are you beholden to? You're a corporate hack, so go to hell. Unfortunately, for a lot of people who don't know better, this might convince them, but I think for most people, it's pretty clear who takes corporate money and who doesn't. Okay? That's the issue.
So to denounce the same kind of fundraising guidelines that President Obama went by, that Speaker Pelosi goes by, that...
Honestly, that's so hilarious that he's bringing up Nancy Pelosi and President Obama as if they're these examples of moral purity. Dude, they're corrupt sacks of turds just like you. No one wants to be like them. No, thank you. Okay? They're exactly the archetypes of corrupt politicians that we don't want anymore. All right? This is amazing. But you know what he just said about Elizabeth Warren, about her funneling that 10 million from her Senate bid last year in 2018, which is all corrupt corporate money and money from billionaires, dumping that money into her presidential bid and then saying that she doesn't take corporate money. That is shady. And it's good that he brought that up because no one else will. Bernie Sanders can't do it, all right, because I think he has a non-aggression pact with Elizabeth Warren. So effectively, Pete Buttigieg just did our work for us. So good job. Thank you. That's probably the only good thing that he's ever done this entire election. It is true. You know, she's taking that corporate money last year and then disavowing it this year while still using that exact same money that she raised. And they tried to pin that same argument on Bernie Sanders, by the way, saying that he funneled money from his last election to this one. Yeah, but all the money he raised last election was still just grassroots donations from regular people. It wasn't corporate money, you dingus. So that was good, what he just did right here. But other than that, man, this wine cave stuff, wine cave Pete. So I don't know if you guys heard about that, but he was basically hosting a private dinner, a private fundraiser in a wine cave with crystals and $900 bottles of wine. I mean, it really begs the question, who has this money? Why are we raising this point? Just think about this for a second. Who has the money to drop $900 on a bottle of wine? Who has $2,800 to drop on a private dinner? The 1%. Only they have this kind of money. Okay? And why do they drop this kind of money? Do you think they're dying to have dinner with Pete Buttigieg? No. They're buying access. They're buying favors from Pete Buttigieg. All right? So that when he becomes president, God forbid, and his phone rings, he's going to take their call. But he's not going to take your call when you call him because you didn't give him any nice little donations when he was running. All right. You're just working class. You're just working poor. No, Pete Buttigieg, he wants to take calls of the 1%, of the people who bought into his fancy little dinner parties. For them, he's going to answer the phone, but he's not going to answer your calls. All right. That's how politics works. So that's why it's important to bring this up. But I very much enjoyed this little spectacle here, because what you have is effectively two politicians here going after each other while Bernie Sanders stands aside and doesn't get his hands dirty. All right. So effectively, let the pigs wrestle in the mud and Bernie Sanders will just stand by quietly. Let them eat each other. All right. It's very good. So that way Bernie Sanders, he doesn't have to risk saying any of this stuff and people saying, oh, you're being too mean by calling out their corruption, which you should be doing. But effectively, dog eat dog, and Bernie Sanders can, keep his hands clean. That's good. That's good. I enjoyed that spectacle a lot. And yes, of course, Elizabeth Warren is leagues ahead of Pete Buttigieg. I still don't trust her 100%. Like he just said, she's been using that corporate money and then disavowing it. No, you're still using it. You set up your field offices and began your campaign with that disgusting, dirty corporate money from your Senate bid. It is what it is. And she wasn't a progressive until she started running for president. So with that said, she is still leagues ahead of Buttigieg, who is too far gone and is beyond redemption. You can't trust this guy an inch. He is a corrupt centrist through and through. That's it. You can't trust him at all. Elizabeth Warren, I don't know if she would be 100% honest on getting all the things done that she said she's going to do. But Pete Buttigieg is straight up telling you that he doesn't want Medicare for all. He's straight up telling you that he doesn't want free college. He is not anything near progressive. Okay. He is not an option. Period.